Hello, this is another video for the LJ Stats and Effects package. Now this one's going to be about how to create a survival system similar to this, so take a look. We have a character here, this little capsule, and we want him to survive in cold and warm temperatures. As we can see, this blue is a cold temperature. Oh, his health is dropping. We take him out, he's in the vacuum of space. Oh no, okay, he's getting warmer. Oh, now his health is able to increase again. He's at a nice comfortable temperature. But wait, what if he gets too hot? Then his health starts decreasing again. So how are we going about this? So essentially, now I've added some recent updates to the system, which should be published to it before it's released on the asset store. But basically, all we have here, we have our player character. What he has is a local stat handler, which has the stat set humanoid that we can define with the right click menu. And there's start stats, so we have... Now these three don't matter, these are just for a demo I'm working on, but the health and temperature are what we're really working on here. And he has a start effect, which is health increase over time. So what does this health increase over time do? Well, it adds 5 points to his health every second. And oh, sorry, this is not accurate. I can get rid of that. Is it continuous? Yes, because we want it to stay on him. We don't want it to be a one-time done. And then here's this. We have this other effect, extreme temperature, right? This is for cold and warm. This one provides immunity to health increase over time. So when you're in the extreme temperature, your health cannot be increasing over time. And it targets the health and removes 10 every 0.75 seconds. It is continuous and it multiplies the stat by 1, so it's not exponential, it'll be linear. And yeah, so then we also have cold, which doesn't do anything, it just reduces the temperature. And we also have warm, which does the same thing, but it increases the temperature, provides immunity to cold. So the reason that it doesn't go both ways is just arbitrary. It can, but I feel like it's better this way. I don't know, I feel like warm is more triumphant over cold. They both add 10 every half a second, so they're pretty powerful. So here we have this player, right? And he's got a local stat handler, as we said. He's got a stat listener. This is the most interesting part, okay? So we start by adding a stat change listener script. And now you don't have to leave this, you don't have to drag and drop this, but you can. And then we have a target stat, temperature. So what this object does, it listens to the temperature using this component, and then it responds to this temperature. So as the temperature changes, it passes it through into this stat evaluator object here. If we go down, we can see it responds along a curve. We call this a stat curve. So what does this do? Okay, so when the stat is all the way to 0, it's going to send out a 1. When the stat is all the way over here, it's going to send out a 1. So when it's at about in the middle, it'll be around there. So let's say around 0.75. So that's like everywhere from mildly cold to mildly hot. And this is extremely cold or extremely hot. So we just pass this one through this now, and now we don't want it to be a multiplier, because if it is, then it'll multiply the stat temperature by this curve rather than just sending the curve straight through. So what we're going to do is do that. Now we're going to have this response, and we're going to have a stat respond. So what goes on here? So all this is, it's a progressive responder. It applies a stat effect of add extreme temperature whenever the temperature is it removes the extreme temperature effect whenever the temperature is below 75, which would be like around here, and it adds the health increaser script back. So I mean, not script, the effect back whenever it's below 75. Now this other one right here, When it's over 75, so when the temperature is extreme, then it just adds the extreme temperature with this little thing, and it removes the health increaser. So I can change this name to health just to make it more clear. You know, I'll just call it an applier because that's what this is. This is just this one just has an apply effect stat effect script, which is a new one. There's also a new dynamic stat effect. So dynamic stat effects, I just added them a few days ago. What they essentially are is just like a one-time effect. So let's say you have a weapon and you want the weapon to have a unique amount of damage. So this will be an instantaneous effect that essentially just allows you to change it like that. Now there's also the extreme temperature one, which is here, and that's similarly, it just applies it. Now these cold zones and warm zones, they use this applicator, which is apply stat effect well and trigger, and this one, which is the same but it just does warm instead of cold. The thing about these is that as you can see, the code is very simple. In order to actually use these and create your own applicator, all you have to do is create a token and apply and click an effect and find a handler. So if you have all of that, you can make your own. This one's a little bit more complex because I made it so that it removes itself when you leave the trigger. It's not the most perfect script, but it's good for a demo. This one is similar. It just applies the stat effect, and yeah, this one, it just applies it, and it's capable of removing it as well. So it's not instantaneous like the dynamic one. This one keeps a consistent token. It doesn't have any time needed, so it creates a token when it's first applied, and then that way it doesn't try to remove nothing. So as we can see, that's how this works. That's how you set it up to have a simple survival system. What about the UI? I know we saw some little sliders. So this temperature right here, it has a stat change listener. Now this is why I serialized this part, because I want us to be able to kind of be able to follow things that aren't necessarily children. So you might want to have it listen to like a stat change listener for enemies killed. You might want to do that if you might want to have that affect UI. So you'll just have to reference the player, target stat temperature. I'll try to add like some kind of thing to like find the player and stuff, you know, find one, but that's ultimately not too difficult to set up. So you find the temperature slider and just set the value. So since this is already a normalized curve that it responds to, the temperature, then it'll just go between 0 and 1 based on the percentage of the temperature. And the health is the exact same, so we've already set these up in just a really fast way. So as we can see, as the health and temperature change, the slider will also change, which is pretty cool, in my opinion. It's very fast. It's similar to, yeah, as you can see, he's kind of burning up. But now we want to cool him down a little bit. Perfect. It's all working fine. So that is how you set up a simple survival system with the stats and effects package. Now you can go a little bit more in depth. You can add food, water, all sorts of systems. You can add diseases, as we showed in a previous example. And yeah, go crazy with it. I hope it's working well. If you need any help with your system, or if you have bought the asset and want some changes, let me know via email. I will do my best to implement those changes and make the project better. Well, thank you for watching, and have a good night, and Happy New Year.